to The Lock Shop with Nielson and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
All right, it's 11:09 on The Lock Shop. Quick little issue. We had to fire it back up, but we're good to go. I see Remus is in the nasty chat saying the second place finisher of the Lock Shop Poker Tournament is in the house. That's good. This guy. Oh God.
He's in full Barry Horowitz mode, doing the old
day. For finishing second
on the back.
I mean, second's good. Second's really good. Took out Awanek. Awanek finished fifth. Where'd you finish, Huss? I went out 25th on a pair of freaking.
Listen, it was top 12 got paid. I went out at 14.
No,
I was right there on the bubble, but I was really short stacked. And at that point, when the blinds are going up, you gotta basically spray and pray. Yeah. And I just wasn't able to get it done. Sort of, but you know what? It was interesting with the bounty on the head. I found that a lot of people were sniping, were really trying. They were making note of when I was playing hands, and you basically had to be ready to dance if you wanted to get in later on. But man, what an awesome night. I mean, it
was a lot of fun. Yeah, it was.
It was so much fun. Great feedback from everyone. Awesome turnout considering we sort of did a soft launch of it. And
we have like 59 people or something when we started.
I think 60 was the total.
60 total.
So
nice.
Patty, I know you were at the ball game last night, but keeping an eye on it. A lot of fun was had last night on the Coolbet poker tables amongst the Lock Shop crew, EST and WST. Oh, we got Pat muted. Is that you?
Am I muted? Am I good?
No, you're good.
Now you're good.
Now. Perfect. Rookie mistake. No, ballpark was great last night. I vouched to my buddies, to Jake, to Shane Train, that I would not spend any money buying tickets. And I did buy tickets. The wife got tickets from work. So I stayed true to myself. But watching that team, some of the youngsters on the team, some of the great bats, I'm not all back in on this team. Let's just say that. I'm not rushing to go to game.
There's
another
the biggest
game here
butt
tonight.
ever coming right now, isn't there? There's a big butt coming.
There are some likable characters coming up through this Blue Jays team. We'll figure out what's going on with Bo Bichette. If he doesn't want to be here, he doesn't have to be here. But, a summer night, although the dome was closed, it was a bit cool in Toronto last night. A summer night at the ballpark really gets the juices flowing. I missed the under at 7.5 dogs. It was Looney night dog. I only had finished with 6. Let the folks down, but I'll be back better than ever, making sure I hit that total at the next Looney dog.
Those are good hot dogs.
They're great dogs, real great dogs. They're smaller, but hey, if you're paying $1 for a hot dog, you can't complain about the price. I mean, if you go on a normal night, a hot dog maybe double the size you're looking at paying $12 anyways. So yeah. It's the best deal in town. And like I said, a night at the ballpark's great. I still had my eyes close to the Lock Shop series, the opener, the first ever edition of our poker tournament. Big shout out to a couple of first timers at Coolbet. Isotope 06. Not only did he win the tournament, fellas, he also knocked out Huss. So he walked away with some heavy pockets. 500.
I don't think he did. I don't think he knocked me out.
Okay, so maybe he was the one that knocked out Dusty. I know he's a double winner though.
Yeah, I don't think he knocked out me either.
I tweeted because right after I went down, I can tell you the guy that took me out was, where is he here?
I went out to Spinner 87.
Yeah, Spinner 87 was the other one I was going to mention.
Okay,
he definitely.
Yes. Yeah.
No, the guy that busted me
bastard.
was Warden Mad 4794. That was who got me out. So congratulations to Warden Mad 4794. Yeah, he was the one because I tweeted right out, "I'm out, short stacked and busted at the hands of Warden Mad 4794." But at that point, we were down. That basically was right on the bubble. One other person got popped. And then, staying and I think cashing, our boy Uchaz, who was mixing it up pretty good. and then Awanek and Remus, who both finished. I think Awanek was 5th. I took some good screenshots of the table as it dwindled down. We'll probably have some fun showing though. Or I'm sure Remus, we might do a 20-minute segment on this on WST today, just showing up, going down hand by hand. Michael Remus's road to heads up play in the final.
Remo's road to heads up action. Like, I'm just looking back at my final hand. I'm sitting there. I was doing a draft. I'm playing the tournament, and I saw my kings, and I was like, man, this is either gonna be awesome or it's gonna be the end. So I grabbed my phone and I recorded just like right at the flop. And yeah, ace jack, ace king versus my kings, and a freaking ace on the turn sent me down. YouTube Trev sent me my odds. He's like, actually, 73% chance you were going to win that hand. I was like, well, damn it.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? But what a great time. It was a lot of fun. I know all the crew here who were in it. They had a good time. I do love playing poker, man. It was a lot of fun last night.
Well, it is way better. Like, I mean, I love online poker in general, but doing it with a bunch of familiar characters that we know from the show, from EST, from here. I see Cowboy in the chat. Sorry about that, Cowboy. I did end Cowboys night last night. I do remember that. So anyways, it was just, listen, it's tough for people to get out, to get together. And that's part of the fun of things like online poker.
So convenient.
As we go forward, the one thing that the poker app itself doesn't have, and for obvious reasons, this is a unique tournament where everyone sort of knows each other.
The chat
is some sort of a chat. So I think, when we go forward, whether we're just having it on one table or whatever, but firing up the YouTube with the chat so people can go back and forth at each other, flex their muscles while things are going.
Well, I don't know if you guys are in the Discord. We got the nasty chat on the YouTube.
Yeah.
Well, there's the DGen Den on the EST chat. Jake frequents it all the time. He's down there with the gremlins mixing it up. Apparently, that was a buzz and a blaze last night. So. That's great. A lot of people were enjoying it. Like I said, too, great thing about this is there's a lot of folks that are loyal listeners to whether it's EST, WST. Maybe they're not the biggest like sports bettors. They're a little bit afraid, kind of intimidated by sports betting. This was their opportunity to get involved, hop on Coolbet. And we saw a lot of new customers as well. And like I said, a couple of the bounty winners, our actual winner of the tournament was a first-time deposited customer as well. So that's always exciting. And you guys are totally right. We talked about this, Huss, last time. I think it was on Friday or Thursday show, whatever it may be. Like, betting on UFC in a big group is so much fun when you pick the same bets and everyone rides together. And it's kind of the same vibe with the poker. Although you're mano a mano and going against each other, like, it's great chatting with the fellas, chirping each other. Once you're out, starting to cheer for other guys, cheer against other guys. So I think our next one, whether it's in the nasty chat,
I was thinking what might be.
We got to figure something out.
Yeah, what might be good is, because I'm pretty sure, remember I tested this before when we were talking about this. You can just go view a table, right, from a generic account. So what we could do is we could just set it up on the poker stream, and then like YouTube Trevor Zacticum or somebody browses around and just checks out other tables, pops in on my table, pops in on your table, Huss, pops in some of the other tables, and just moves it around. We can just all chat in the chat on the nasty chat on YouTube, which would kind of work too.
You know what? Either Pat or Jake could do that as well.
Well, that's the thing. Put Jake on it, popping around, and be like, okay, let's see what's going on. Let's pop into Dusty's table. Okay, what's going on here, and then we can. I think that would probably be maybe the best way to execute. I know we've talked about some other ways, but I don't mind there being like a person who can control the feed and just go to different chats while the rest of us just focus on playing the game. I think that could be fun.
Yeah, I don't think you have to even be in the tournament to go in and watch it.
No, you can just go watch, right? So that person could browse around. So
as it got clear, like I've got the two screens here, and once I was finished all my fantasy football duties, by the way, like last night, I am so back. Like my first fantasy auction of the year, which I blew all my money.
Oh God!
3 minutes before the cards were dealt. Said adios to the fellas in my league. Turn it over and started. It was honestly one of the most fun nights And it was funny. I saw some stat yesterday. I don't know who it is. I was having something to eat, and it was like, these are the things that women don't like or whatever. And it was like a big list of things. And put it this way, gambling and fantasy football were both up there. I think Tommy Lahren put out fantasy football. I'm like, you should be deported for this. That's for a patriot. That's the most un-American thing you've ever come out of your mouth. I don't usually mix it up in the political streets, but taking a shot at fantasy football was way over the line.
How about on that list? Taxidermy was like way down. Like according to this, like things that drive girls nuts and turn them off is sports betting was up there, video games up there, taxidermy was taxes. I know 90% for video games. Taxidermy was like not even a blip on the radar.
Ladies loved the stuffed animals, boys. It's just how it works. Like.
Yeah, the model trains was good, but the video games was outrageous. I guess I'm gonna have to hide my custom controller for the Xbox the next time the ladies come over.
Next time a lady's over, you'll hide your custom Kansas City Chiefs controller for the Xbox. Like,
oh my God,
that's too funny, man. But yeah, I think poker tournament was a success. Patty, how many people rebought in? Like, how many people went on early? Because did Remo get eliminated and buy back in?
Yeah, he's an incredible story of never quitting.
Yeah. Although there was a fake Remo account too, wasn't there?
Okay, I need to bring that up, and we're going to talk about this on WST today as well. But all week, like Remus got in early, and he was there at M. Remus, and all of a sudden I'm going through the players, and there's M. Remus 69. That wasn't him. And I had a few suspects that could potentially do it, and I was exhausting them all during the turn. I'm like, this is you, isn't it? I know it's you. They're like, no, I'm playing. I'm a different guy. Here we are. So,
well, what's so funny is when you brought that up with me, I was sitting at a table right next to M. Remus 69, and I thought I was playing against Remo. He was like at the spot right next to me. So I sent you a picture of me and Remus 69 working on it there. That was, but yeah, I think he went in all in early too. Remus 69, M. Remus 69, and got eliminated and bought right back in. So
right off the bat.
Yeah, I don't know how many rebuys there were. I play these things way too patiently. Like, I just get whittled down, then I hit a big one, then I get whittled down again, then I hit a big one, and then it's just like I think I only won. Man, I must have only won like 7-8 hands all night. Like I was just sitting back and chilling.
Survival. It's survival. Yeah. I mean, realistically, there's an element of, I mean, sometimes you're probably folding winning hands, but you gotta stay in and, like, you know, throwing it all out and putting yourself at risk. Listen, if you're willing to rebuy and you want to go right back in, do it. I probably would have done that in a normal tournament, but just knowing there was a bounty coming for whoever knocked me out, I put it this way. I didn't want to do it on some stupid play, you know, playing Jack 8, just trying to screw with people, and then, blew the stack and someone gets it. So I made him earn it. But as I said, it was great. And yeah, it wasn't like a bunch of crazy rebuys. I think probably like 7 or 8 people, or 9, someone said, got back in. So
yeah, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I remember when I was looking back at some of the stats last night, I believe it was 9 rebuys.
9 rebuys. Oh, that's not too bad. That's not too bad, actually. No. And what do you guys think about for the timeline? When was the winner crowned last night? Ended up going like 3.5 hours, didn't it? 4 hours, maybe?
It went even a little later than that, a little 4. Like, I mean, you know, if anything, could have maybe sped up the blinds by a minute or something. I mean, when you have a tournament of that many people and you get through the first hour and then it's elimination, you know, inevitably it is going to take a little while to do it. But I mean, listen, for the most part, I think everyone was fired up. Everyone had a good time. Everyone was got their poker fix last night with the crew, and it was funny. By the way, Iwanek, can I just say something about Iwanek? This is a guy I was impressed with. Iwanek. Now, I didn't really see how he ended up getting busted, but when Remo
busted him on a river. on a river. Bremo will tell you. He's in the chat right now. He said he rivered him so hard.
Yeah. So it was about 4 hours. Yeah. And Reba said, it was getting a bit late. I got impatient in the heads up. But Iwanek was relentless with putting the pressure on the smaller stacks. I mean, he was not letting you see cards. You had to make a decision and basically be ready to roll. And, obviously it cost him at one point, but a very well played by Iwanek, who gets MVP EST, and Remus, who gets MVP WST.
I just, from reading the tweets and Jake saying some of the comments in the Discord, I think we've created a beast. I think we've created a monster. Matty Ice is a bully, and it sounded like he was playing bully ball all night long. And he's out there playing all coy on Twitter, over under 15 minutes for me to survive. Meanwhile, he comes crashing in and just steals everyone's lunch money. I absolutely love it.
I do have to give a huge shout out to Remus, though, because if Iwanek walks in here today, the champion of the poker tournament, we would have not been able, like Zacticum's just shaking his head in the corner. Like we as a company, we would have not been able to take it. We never heard the end of it.
We dodged a bullet.
Oh, thank God. And I saw he was like chip leader going into the final table. I was like, oh shit, it's happening. Like this is going to be a thing. But no, all in all, really fun night. And I think everybody who was in it will probably try to get into the next one, and we'll add more. So it was it was a lot of fun.
Well, and I tell you what, I mean, there's Pat mentioned, a bunch of new people jumped on board, and obviously you can go back and forth. If you just want to play poker, fine. But if you want to pop over, especially those of you with fat pockets after a cashing last night, feel free to jump on maybe the Greggy's Golf Special, our picks today and tomorrow. A big day in the CFL. Is I want to confirm for the Thursday festivities.
Hey, Maddie, can you do lock shop tomorrow? Yeah, he says he has to. He's good to go. So yeah.
Okay.
I thought he was
CFL. There is so much CFL to talk about, and big CFL 110 today following WST. Jeff Hamilton right now is like a caged lion, ready to get in front of the microphone with many takes on everything happening in the CFL. So. Some good CFL content today on WST after the Daily Show. And then tomorrow, Matty Iwanek will join me in the lock shop for daily picks.
I thought Matty Ice was going to say, "Oh, sorry, I've got a World Series of poker qualifier. I have to attend."
Doing a poker clinic down at the casino.
I'm doing a poker clinic down at the casino. Oh my God, that's the last thing we need. Like. I asked him today, I said, were you playing the tournament with the chart with all the hands and the value right next to you? I said, did you have that sitting there while you're doing it? He goes, nope, that's was he a
big poker guy?
No, I don't think he's ever played really before at all. He said he's played one other time in his life. So
gotta love it.
Beginner's luck, I guess. All right, should we talk some golf or what? We might as well. Dabble.
Yeah, well, just before we get into the golf, I just teased Matt's going to be on tomorrow. We'll get into the CFL. Yep. A quick look over at the CFL lines. We always like to kind of stay on top of these, paying attention to the line movement. Told everyone if you wanted Bombers 7.5 2 days ago, get it. It was 10 yesterday. The money line is still the same. Bombers minus 500, Hamilton plus 370. You can get it at minus 9.5 right now. So if the 10 was a little too much to stomach, a half points off it. If you like the Bombers by double digits, jump on it right now. I'm interested about this, Dusty. You're not going to be here, so quickly get your thoughts on this. Riders plus 2.5, plus 128 in Toronto against the Argos with Chad Kelly making his first start.
Yeah, favorite bet
Kelly has not been. It's not like he's been practicing for a month, and I know he was with this team last year. But man, with the pressure, the spotlight on Chad Kelly, and let's face it, the Riders should have won that game against 100%. The Montreal Alouettes. They played phenomenal. You have the missed field goals, including one that gets returned. That's just sort of one of those aberrations that happen once a season. They're going to be in an ornery mood. I think I kind of like Sask in this game. But what do you make of Kelly coming back? What are your expectations for him? I
don't have many expectations for him. Now, we had Naylor on our show this morning, and Gager asked him, how do you compare the impacts or expected impacts of Kelly and Rourke? Both kind of returning around the same time, but from significantly different paths. And Rourke's coming out of 3 different NFL playbooks, prior to that game, he'd not played a full football game in 644 days. And he hadn't played in the league in a long time. He gets thrown this Bombers defense immediately. Like, tough spot for him to be in. Chad Kelly hasn't had to go through a bunch of different playbooks. Chad Kelly knows exactly what they're running there. He knows all the guys that he's playing with. With that being said, I still love the Riders at this number. I mean, they should have comfortably beat Montreal. It was a 19-point swing while at 2 singles, so a 17-point swing in the kicking game. So, I mean, they should have beat Montreal. I know they can beat Toronto, and to get them at 2.5 here, it's my favorite. It's my favorite play of the week, undoubtedly. Not even close.
Obviously this game's in Toronto. I'm in Toronto, so there've been quite a bit of talk about this Chad Kelly news. The fact of the matter is, you are right. Like, okay, of course, like, he hasn't played in a long time, but you look at it, it's not like a guy like Nathan Rourke who went through 3 different playbooks to get ready. I know he's familiar, but let's be honest. Rourke's situation is completely different from Kelly. There's a lot more distractions. This is way heavier. There's a lot surrounding this away from football. Toronto, though, great at home. I saw, not to steal Rod Z's thunder with the betting trend here, but Toronto is 14-2 in their last 16 games at home. They play really, really well at home. On the flip side, though, defense travels. That Saskatchewan defense is great. And let's be honest, Brett Lowther, we know he's not going to have a game like that again. He's not going to follow up that performance again. He's angry. He's got a chip on his shoulder. I think he has a big game and a big bounce back. I think Saskatchewan, no doubt, is the play here with the dark cloud that is looming over Toronto right now.
Yeah, I think that has to be the case. The Riders are good, man. It's going to set up a real nice Labor Day and Banjo Bowl between the Riders and the Bombers. Huss, anything else on the CFL? I do want to hit on our NFL drafts before we get into the golf stuff.
Yeah, I mean, just the other two games, and again, we'll make our picks tomorrow. We'll get Dusty's leans, and we'll put together a partner parlay tomorrow. BC is 1-point favorites right now in Ottawa. The Red Blacks, man, 6-2-1, no respect. Even money for the Red Blacks, -125 on the money line, and then the Elks, 6-point underdogs. That's actually gone down. I believe it was 6.5 yesterday.
6.5 yesterday. Yep.
In Montreal. And listen, if you want to ride the Elks momentum and think they can maybe catch Montreal, +245 on the money line. Something to think about for all you Elks fans out there that are feeling the momentum of the guy. I guess we're still expecting MBT, which I think is actually the right move, and then bring Trey Ford in for the Calgary games.
Yeah, MBT's going to start that game. So, but they've been playing pretty well. They only lost to the Alouettes by 3 here in Edmonton earlier in the season. That was one of the close losses that they had. So I think they'll put up a pretty good fight against the Alouettes. All right, 780-218-9999. You can hit us up in the nasty chat as well. Huss, you said you were in an auction draft last night. I was in a Superflex draft. How was the auction draft? Who'd you get?
It was
great.
Spend
the big bucks on?
This is a league that it's actually my most complicated league. Like, we auction everyone, and whatever you buy them for, that is their salary for this year. You have the option of signing them to contracts for 2 or 3 or 4 years at escalating numbers. So, I mean, it's a 19 player roster. And I think I had like 8 or 9 guys. We do a rookie draft separate.
Okay. Yeah.
And then you can sign your rookies to whatever contracts to pop in. So I was actually pretty happy. I mean, a lot of it is about bankroll management and identifying the scarcity, because a lot of the top players are already on teams signed to deals. So I got Michael Pittman in Indy. I've got some good young rookie receivers, but I didn't have any steady guys. Deebo Samuel was one of my RFAs, so I matched the number on him. I got those 2 guys. And then you know who
you didn't have to take him to arbitration.
I love it. He's an RFA. I matched him. You had the exact opposite of Stan Bowman. I see.
Every team, 2 of your free agents, you can declare them as RFAs. You can get a right to match. And then what was the other thing? Well, you'll love it. If your guy is, say you have him on a rookie deal and he blows up and he's top 5, then he's a holdout. And you have to either pay him the average of the top 5 guys, Like it's a really
you have holdouts.
Shout out to our guy Cheng, the commissioner Cheng. They handle it. This would be too much for me to do, but it's a very fun league to be in. But you know who I got, and I ended up having to pay way more than I really wanted to, but I budgeted for it because I was hoping, like, there was very scarce running backs available. Saquon Barkley went, and I bid him at like $50, thinking that would just be way too much that I would get him. No, but the guy matched. He was an RFA. So I did the same thing. I waited for James Conner at the end. And while a lot of guys still needed some other players, I'd filled out some of my roster. I got my defense. I got my kicker. And I was able to slam. I think I put 27 down on James Conner, and it was just too much for the guy to match. I could have got him for less, but I probably don't get him then. So I love the auctions, and this one in particular, because there's another level of all of that. It was a good way to kind of start off with that one, because you get to see both who's hot, the players, as well as who's kind of people on. And as I say, one more ride with Mahomes and Kelsey together. I drafted Xavier Worthy. I mean, it's gonna be. I don't know how many more years we're gonna get of Kelsey Mahomes. It wouldn't even surprise me if this was it, to be honest. I mean, Travis is like 36 now.
Yeah, he's getting up there, man. Yeah, Patty, what do you have to say about
with another ring?
I just got to hear what Patty has to say about the league that you just laid out, man. Quickly, I'm in a league that's based around Marvel and DC comic book heroes, and I'm sitting here going, your league's ridiculous.
I kind of get the poll now. I kind of understand what we were talking about earlier. I get it now. I totally get why chicks would think this is a turnoff. I understand.
You're out at dinner with your sweetheart. What's wrong, honey? Oh, I'm just stressing over whether I can bid James Conner enough that he doesn't get matched.
I coincidentally got James Conner last night too in my Superflex league as my first running back off the board. I waited on running back and I took him. I was in the 12-13 swing. First time this league's gone to Superflex. Like, we've just been a regular league, but we just decided to go Superflex this year. I was one pick away from getting a Burrow Chase stack in the 12-13 swing. Burrow went 11th. So I went with Dak, who actually finished as QB3 last year. I mean, he's been pretty consistent. Yeah. So I went with Dak, and then I took Chase. Then it came back around to me in his Superflex. So then I took a Goff Laporta stack, and then I ended up settling for James Conner as my RB1. And I just took a bunch of shots on younger guys who are like handcuffs after that. But I like James Conner, man. If he won't stay healthy, like, he'll get hurt along the way. But when he's in the lineup and healthy, James Conner puts up points. He always has.
Well, and I think that getting in Marvin Harrison, having Kyler Murray back with a full training camp, like, do I think the Cardinals are going to be particularly good? Not really. But I think their offense will be a lot more productive. And I think that having to respect the passing game a lot more is going to be big for Connor. Like, that's maybe the least sexy team in the league. Like, no one gets excited about picking guys from Arizona. But when you look back at what he did when he was in the lineup, I mean, he was getting all the touches, a true bell cow. And listen, again, not the most exciting pick, but a guy that'll help you out, most often if he's able to play. So I'm going to be riding with Connor and then Jahmyr Gibbs, and I've got the stack of the Detroit guys. I kept those guys. And I love the Detroit running game. It's the best case scenarios if one guy's nicked up and one guy gets the majority of the work, because they do split it. But at one point last year, when a couple other guys were hurt, I was rolling both of them out.
Yep.
And it actually worked out. Gibbs was getting a ton of yardage. Montgomery might get the touchdowns. That's an offense that made a lot of people happy last year.
Yeah, it's funny. I think Jake's head is not going to be able to fit through the door for when I have a meeting with him a little bit later this afternoon, because the two guys that he was mentioning on his future show, Pittman Jr. and then, of course, Connor, he's heavy on some of those futures props. So he's probably thinking, oh, the fellas are listening. I'm the football brain. We also do know how all in he is on the Colts this year.
Well, yes, we do. This is his team.
That's why he loves Pittman. This is his team. He bleeds blue.
All right, let's get into some golf. We're like a golf episode 39 minutes in. We're like, okay, we better get to the golf.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah, there's a ton going on here, Patty. Lay it out for it, buddy. I mean, you've been rolling nicely here. What do you like?
Yeah,
this week?
exactly. We're just going to turn this over to you.
Yeah. I'm going to talk less. I'm going to talk less than usual. I'll give you my 3 names right at the end.
I'm just going to bet these picks as you make them.
I know I am by some, not me, I'm not saying this. Others are saying this. The hottest golf bettor on the planet. I'm not saying, others are saying this. But this is going to be a really tough one to pick, I think. We've narrowed the field down to 50 now. And this is at a course that we haven't seen on tour since 2006. It's called Castle Pines Golf Club. It's in Colorado. Technically, it is the longest course on tour in history. It's over 8,000 yards, but at sea level, it plays closer to like 7,300, which is about average on tour. So just keep that in mind. But, it's an Jack Nicklaus design, which we have a few on tour as well. And it's also on bent grass. So those are some of the things I'm looking at. Ball striking, as always, approach game, certainly important. But on these Nicklaus designs, Jack seems to always reward the ball strikers, the guys that are great approach players. So something to keep in mind. But when I look at this, and I have a couple of big names on the card, but when you look at the history of this event, and yes, I know it's at a different course, but when you look at the BMW, the penultimate event of the PGA Tour season leading into the Tour Championship, it's big names. It's superstars that win this event. Hovland won last year. Cantley went back-to-back the years before that. John Rahm and Justin Thomas in the last 5. But with that being said, I do feel like there are some other names out there. There is some value. But if Xander Schauffele was to win, if Scotty Scheffler was to win, if Rory McIlroy can kind of figure things out, he was awful last week. I wouldn't be surprised if one of the big. But with that being said, there are some big names that maybe aren't near the top of the board where I think you can get some money. Where that starts for me is Victor Hovland at 18-1. He was actually 21 earlier in the week. I'd still bet him down to that 18 price. I got him at 20. But I'm just going to stick with the hot hand. I'm going to stick with the trend of the big names near the top. And we see this in Tour Championship history or leading up to the Tour Championship. Last year, Hovland wins this event, wins the Tour Championship. Cantley, he was heating up as well. It's usually a big indicator is recent form, and Hovland has that. He was great last week. He was a runner-up. He actually played the final 54 holes, 15 under par. And he was on fire. I was sweating. I felt so gross and dirty cheering against my guy, Vic, especially what a roller coaster of a year he's had this year. But I had to cheer against him because I had Decky. It was eating me inside. So I'm glad I can get a piece of him this week. He plays really well at Jack Nicklaus courses, especially this year. Some of his best results have come here. Finished 3rd at Valhalla, 15th at Muirfield. And I think when you look at this course it fits well for him. And according to Matt Vincenzi, he's 5th in strokes gained in the field at Nicklaus design courses over the past 30 rounds. I mentioned how he won here. I know it's a different course, but the hot hand has a lot of success at the BMW. So I'm going to go with Big Vic. Tony Finau, 30-1. I think out of all the players in the field, Tony Finau might be the most comfortable playing golf in the altitude. At elevation. He's from Utah. That is the 3rd highest state in elevation in the US of A. He has played a lot of elevated golf, and he plays well in elevated golf. He's in good form as well. I don't think, because he hasn't had that win, I don't think we're talking about how good of a season Tony Finau actually is having. He finished T16 last week with an okay around. Like it could have been even better than that. But before that, though, T12 at the 3 Open, he did miss the cut at the Open Championship. That's a little bit of an outlier for me when you're looking at a lot of these guys. The weather was insane. He was in that early group that really ended up costing him. He was T5 at the Travelers, T3 at the US Open, and then T8 at Memorial. That's unbelievable form. We're not talking enough about how well he's playing. He's a ball striking machine. His approach game is an absolute weapon for him. He's 3rd in strokes gained approach over the past 24 rounds in this field. And I mentioned that this potentially could be a birdie fest. Tony Finau absolutely eats at these events where you're getting close to the 20 marks. Another great stat from Vincenzi, This one's actually awesome. In his last 5 wins have come between scores of 16 under and under 24. His most recent win was minus 24 at the Mexico Open. So big tone, great course fit. I think that, and the fact of the matter is at 30-1, this is the best price I've seen in the market, bar none. Wrap it up quickly here. Akshay Bhatia, 50-1. This guy's a birdie fest machine. If you look at where he has had success, it's at these low scoring events. He was 17 under when he finished at T2 at the Rocket Mortgage. Don't have to talk much more about that tournament. That's in the past. We're not talking about that tournament anymore. T5 at the Travelers, 18 under. And then when he won the Texas Open, 20 under. He's also won at elevated event, not the field being elevated, but at a course where you're playing at elevation, the Barracuda Championship last year. So I really like Akshay, not only to win here, a little bit of a long shot at that 50-1, but him in the top 10 at plus 280 is one of my favorite bets of the week. Nick Dunlap, 66-1. This is one of the longer shots who I think could actually have a legitimate chance at winning. I said like big names, got to be a big name. Well, Nick Dunlap might not be a big name right now, but he's going to be a big name. Just at 20 years old this year, this rookie has already won twice. He won at the Bermuda, another elevated track. He plays well at Jack Nicklaus designed courses, and he won the Junior Amateur Championship in Colorado. So the kid's got stones. He's not afraid of the big moment. He played the opening round with Scotty Scheffler. I think it was last event, not the one before that. And he actually beat him by 3 strokes when they were playing together. So I also love him top 20 at minus 105. And then Taylor Pendrith inside the top 20. This guy's been playing great golf. He just missed outside the top 20 last week. He was T22, but he's gained strokes with his irons in 5 straight rounds and gained strokes on the greens in 17 of his past 19 starts. So Taylor Pendrith, maybe not to win, but to finish inside the top 20 and advance to the Tour Championship.
You know, it's funny you mentioned Pendy. I was going through the exclusives earlier today, and we got to love the chance for Pendy to make it through. He's 27 right now. A strong round can put him, he's at minus 110 to advance to the Tour Championship. I was just going through the other Canadians on the list right now. Pendy's in the best spot at 27. Top 30 make it to the Tour Championship. Corey Connors just off of the 9. He's got to make up and pass 3 guys. He's in 33rd. And then Adam Hadwin's 42nd. He would need to win or probably be top 2, top 3 with the quadruple points to make it happen. You know, it's funny. You took the words right out of my mouth. I had made 1 bet so far, and it was Vic Hovland, defending champion, was 15 under last week, was right in the mix. And we've sort of been waiting for Vic to wake up a little bit. You know, he had some underwhelming performances, but at 18-1, coming off the way he played last week, I love Vic. Listen, I make an argument for Scotty Scheffler, Xander Schauffele, and if they bite us, I mean, that's just the way it goes right now. Plus 350, plus 650.
I wanted Xander, but at plus 650, man, I don't know if I could do it.
Can't do it.
It's tough, and man, these guys are so good. And the tournament that will probably be looking long and hard for Xander is next week when it counts for the 15 mil or whatever. I love Vic Hovland in this spot. He's getting it. And you mentioned Tony Finau. Like, I don't normally need a reason to bet Tony Finau. If anything, it's a FOMO on the other side. But you make a great point about, being a Utah guy, the amount that he's played in elevation. This is a new course for a lot of guys. That could be a nice little a bit of an advantage for Tony. And he has been really steady. I mean, all his rounds last week were in the 60s. His approach game's great. Start sinking a few putts. He could be right there on Sunday. So love him at 30-1. And then the other bet that I have placed already, a little just below Tony, is Billy Ho. And Billy Ho has actually been really good for the better part of about the last 6 weeks right now. I'm just looking to see where he is in the standings. Where do we have Billy? Mr. William Horschel. He's in a pretty good spot at 19. But, if you want to be like, this is the thing. Some guys are just trying to, I got to get to the Tour Championship. You're at somewhere like 19. You go and win this tournament, and you're probably in and around the top 10 and in a pretty good spot with strokes as opposed to what you would think when they set it up. So Billy Ho's at 40-1. I don't mind Billy Ho to be in the mix as well, so I've taken him. Vic, though, my favorite pick for sure, and you know I'm riding with you on Tony Finau.
Let me just chime in here. I don't know if I have to come up and show this list in front of the camera, but it's Vic Hovland, Tony Finau, and Billy Horschel.
Oh my God.
I am not freaking kidding. I have it printed off right here. I'll come up and show it to the camera. I swear to God. And for everybody who's like listening or watching, we don't talk to each other about our picks before. So I heard Patty roll through Vic and Tony, and I was just like, oh, well, at least I got Billy Ho. Then Huss comes in and goes, yeah, you're speaking my language. I love Vic. You know I'm in on Tony. And then what about Billy Horschel? I'm like, are you kidding me? I have all three of them right on this piece of paper. Like the exact same three guys, buddy. Like that's insane. It's insane.
We've saved some conversation about the parlay.
Well, though, yeah, the one thing for Tony, like Tony outside of majors, he's got 12 straight rounds under par. Like he's playing it like Patty laid it out right at the beginning. He's playing excellent golf right now. This was a no-brainer for me. And I knew you'd probably be on him. But I still I'll put him on the list. I didn't think all three of us be on basically the exact same three bloody players. But I mean, this is wild. Like when you said Billy Horschel, I almost pissed my pants. I was like, come on, man. Like you got to be kidding me. So yeah, I absolutely love Tony. And then Billy Horschel, like his last three, and I was on him last week. He was one of my guys last week, and I decided to run back with him. The last time this tournament was at this event or at this course in 2014, he won it. And then T2, T7, and T10 in his last three. I mean, the course is there. The current form's there. You get him at 40-1. I really like him again, so I was gonna come back around to Billy. So yeah, Vic, Tony, and Billy. Those are my three as well. So Patty,
there's only 50 there's only 50. So the top 20s. I mean, like Vic's top 20 is minus 270.
It's not going to carry much here. We need some top.
Tony's minus 175. Yeah. Do we want to go Vic top 10, Tony top 10, Billy Ho top 20?
Yeah, I mean, that will probably be a pretty solid number. Like I'm thinking
Vic's plus 125 for top 10, Tony's plus 188, and then Billy Ho would be minus 147 for the top 20.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's for sure Vic top 10. Like I think that we can't get away from that. It's just whether do we want Tony top 10 or do we want to go a little safer and top have 20? Finau
top 20 and
Horschel.
Well, Patty, are you super passionate about somebody instead of Horschel? Like, I know Huss and I are both on it, but we're also on the other two guys. So if you really feel strongly about...
we'd be insane to go different. I mean, we basically have all showed up with the same guys. How do we not put a parlay together on those guys?
And to be quite honest, I mean, Horschel was like on my long list of guys. I just chose to go with Bottia over Horschel because Bottia's my guy.
He's your guy,
so, yes, I had to. So I'm like Billy Ho is a great player.
What do we think the number would be if it was Tony in 20, Billy 20, and Vic 10? That would still be a pretty good number, wouldn't it? Like,
no, I think I think we'd get a good number on that for sure. I think the Finau and Horschel to be top 20 without putting a top 10 number in there, you're probably looking at like plus 150, and then you add another plus. What is it? What did we say? Hovland was 125. So
for Vic top 10.
I think we'll get a decent number on that, unless you guys want to go swing for the fences and we go Tony and Vic. It's just a little less room for error.
I'm fine being a little more conservative. I'd rather win the bet and
it's gonna suck if Tony finishes 12th and we're like, damn it, we could have put him in the top 20. Like,
yeah. So why don't we roll with that? Finau.
Yeah, let's do it.
Finau and Billy Ho top 20s and Vic top 10.
Let's do it.
I can't believe how easily this came together. I cannot believe that you laid out the exact same three guys. That's ridiculous. What else you got for specials and stuff, Patty? Like anything else? Like
Well, my Greggy's golf special, I've got it up now. Aaron Rye, Nick Dunlap, and Taylor Pendrith, all to finish inside the top 20. I was kind of blown away by this. 12-1.
I was going to say,
for three guys that have been just sleeping in the top 20 like for the last month and a half. So really like that number, like that one there. Some of the other ones like Taylor Pendrith just to advance to the Tour Championship, even money right now. A couple of the other ones, Tony Finau, Patrick Cantlay, Tommy Fleetwood inside the top 20 plus 375. Scotty and Xander both inside the top 5. Plus 380 just shows how well those guys are playing right now. Rory and Colin both finished top 10, plus 380. Connors and Pendy, if you're looking for some Canadian flavor, both those guys to finish inside the top 20 is plus 500. The Scandinavian boys, Hovland and Oberg, plus 575 for them to finish inside the top 10. And then Rai, Akshay, Bhatia, Sam Burns, and Sahith Theegala inside the top 20 is 16-1. And then I believe I've got a combo card cooking around. Let me see if I can pull that up real quick here. I do. Mike Greggy's golf special, Hovland top 10, Bhatia top 20. That's boosted up to 352. And then another, it's not the super boost that we saw last week, fellas, but still, I think this is a really, really good number just with the way these guys have been playing. Scheffler top 5 and Schauffele top 10 plus 153. I think that is the big two, man. Like those guys have been automatic all year long. You're getting plus really money for those guys. That's a really, really nice number.
Yeah, I love that. Huss, what's coming up Winnipeg Sports Talk, buddy?
Well, I'm sure Remus will continue his victory lap about the poker tourney. I think we can pretty much count on that. We're going to look ahead to Friday. Bombing's coming on and talk Bombers, Ticats, Scotty Billick from the Sun. And while we were talking about fantasy football, we figured it's time to really start diving into that. And our pal Josh Frey-Sam, who is the defending champion of the Winnipeg Media League, beating me in the final last year, is going to come on for his last appearance as champion. And he's a big Packer guy. We're going to talk NFC North, Packers, Lions, and that division. And I will quickly before that go and rattle off a play of the day for Jake. So look for that later on in the Coolbet socials. We're swinging. We're going run line today. I'll tease that. Check it out a little later on. We're against a familiar face for the Royals. It'll be good. But that'll be awesome. Maddie in tomorrow for the CFL picks. But Dusty, text me your picks.
I will,
because we're both like in Saskatchewan tomorrow. We'll try and put together a good lock shop partner parlay and get that up as well.
Sounds good. We'll do, boys. Fun chat today. That was a lot of time. And thanks to everybody who got in on the poker tournament. That was a lot of fun. We'll definitely do that again. All right. See you guys later. There you go. That's Huss, P. Greggy, Dusty with you on the Lock Shop. We've got the oil stream coming up with myself and YouTube Trev Ritter right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Do not go anywhere.